Hello, welcome to Antepartum. Probably not a place you want to be, and I understand that, but hopefully you're getting the care that you need and you're settling in. For me personally, my water broke at 25 weeks, and I found myself in the antepartum unit. And I remember them telling me, the first 24 to 48 hours are critical. And if we can get through those hours, with those days without going into labor, we can hold off labor. That the goal was to get me to 34 weeks. So understandably, that's a good goal to get to 34 weeks. But the thought of which would have made it, 9 weeks in the hospital was kind of terrifying to me. Not scary because of the hospital, but just like being stuck inside of a hospital for that long. I am not the type of person who loves to be stuck inside, doing nothing. So that was definitely a challenge for me. And for me, I made it, I think, only about 17 days in antepartum before having to have an emergency C-section and deliver at 28 weeks. But in that almost 3-week period, I found myself on bed rest, hospital bed rest. I couldn't leave the hospital. I couldn't even go off of the floor. For me personally, it was actually in the height of COVID, March of 2020. And so I was in isolation initially and couldn't even leave my room. So it was difficult. Another added layer for me personally was that because of COVID, my children that were at home were not allowed to see me. So I couldn't physically hold my babies, my 2 other little girls, for that whole period. But you may have children at home and hopefully they get to come see you. But maybe for whatever reason, that's not an option. But even if they can come visit you, that's still totally different than being at home with them. So that part can be really hard, being separated from other kids if you have other children. Even your husband can only be there a certain amount of time. My husband would come up maybe once or twice a day to spend a little bit of time with me. And, it is isolating. It's definitely lonely, not to mention the fact that you're in there thinking all of the what ifs and what's going to happen. And, can I, every day is, for me, at least in my journey, it was like every single day was a gift, because every single day that he stayed on the inside was meant that he could develop, in the womb. And I was aware of all of the, I read all the resources that they gave me. I read all the educational stuff, met with the social worker, all that stuff. I knew like at each week of gestation, the things that would develop. And I knew that in that situation, it was like 28 weeks was kind of the safety marker for a lot of different things developmentally. So I was like, if we can just get to 28 weeks and then we can get, obviously farther. Mine ended up coming at 28 weeks, but I just was paying attention and I knew that every day was a gift, that the baby stayed on the inside. And so during that time, there's lots of things you can do. You can let your mind go in all the bad places. I encourage you to try not to do that. I know that's not easy, but I had worship music playing. I had a playlist. I had I remember doing like adult coloring books, coloring and just trying to keep my mind off of things. Watching, I'm not a big TV watcher, so that was weird for me. But I watched some HGTV to take my mind off of things. Like I said, read books that were encouraging to me. We have some books listed in our resource section that I recommend, some devotionals that I recommend to help you through those things. Spending time on FaceTime with people, spending, maybe Zoom calls, FaceTime. Just connect with people as much as you can. If you have visitors that are willing to come visit, let them visit. I know sometimes people I don't want to be seen like this. I don't want people to come. I encourage you to let people come and visit, just to have that connection with people. And I encourage you to take any help. If people want to bring you meals, if people want to bring you snacks or whatever, I encourage you to really take that help. The biggest thing is to not focus on the negative. And again, I know that's harder or easier said than done. But celebrate every single day that you're in there, that the baby stays inside. Celebrate those days. Really try to focus on the positive, and try not to let your mind just wander into the negative and get stuck there. Like, don't tell yourself stories. Don't play out things in your mind that haven't happened yet. Try to think positively. One other thing that I did was speaking affirmations. If you've never done that before, it's just speaking what you want to happen. So maybe saying things like, "I will make it to 34 weeks," or whatever it might be, or my baby will be born healthy. My baby will not have long, lasting complications. I am blessed and highly favored, and just speaking affirmations, speaking life, speaking the things that you want to happen over your baby every single day, praying over your baby every single day, letting other people pray with you and for you. Those are things that I highly recommend. But trying to keep your mind off of things, trying to keep your mind on positive things, trying not to let your mind wander. Those are some things that help me, and trying to prepare for the journey ahead, and to be thankful that I was in a place where they were monitoring me. They were, I was hooked up to the things I needed to be hooked up to, and that my baby was going to be taken care of. So hopefully that helps you in your journey. And I enjoyed sharing with you today.